Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyrie here with another Awaken Chaos Era video, and I am once again joined by Darth Micro. Why don't you say what's up, Darth?
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more Minecraft Let's Plays.
I am. Okay, so in today's video, what we're going to be doing is breaking down each of our three favorite heroes based on rarity. So we're going to take turns talking about our favorite elite, epic, and then legendary hero. So why don't you kick it off? Why don't you start with the first hero here? Is what's your favorite? And also, I do want to say this is not necessarily the best, just the one that you use the most that you happen to like, and why that is the case.
Sure. So I'm going to cheat a little bit right off the bat, okay? Because I actually don't use this hero because, as we both know, I'm a whale.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think it is a very good elite and is somebody I would in particularly like to use if I needed him, and probably will build him anyway. His name is Valak. He is a elite tree-looking guy. Okay, I forget
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I think he's in the woodland. Is what he's in the index. And what he does is he's a poisoner, and he has a very unique kit because not only does he have a poison on his basic, but if you look at what happens on his passive, which makes it where anytime your allies actually end up getting hit, then well, that's the trait. The trait's great, and the accessory or accuracy down, I should say, is fantastic too. But the reason I like him so much is his passive. So I should actually say, as I guess it's his passive, his
Uh-huh.
AQ. And what that one does is when you get hit, it applies poison basically to the attacker. And
Mm-hmm.
this is going to go up to a 50% chance, but it works on AoE.
Yeah, it's he's great. I've seen him used in a lot of comps, like kind of budget, free to play friendly things that would normally take poisoners like Santis or the legendary version of him. Um, and or Genjello. I just like blanked on the name, but it's cool that there so many elites in this game are actually good and used to clear some of the harder dungeons. So I think this is a good pick. This is like a solid niche pick that actually is pretty good if you're on a budget.
People are pretty thirsty for poisons. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't have the Gangelo, or however people say it, gang. I pronounce them
Yeah,
Gangy.
Gang
People
Jello.
jump
Yeah.
all over me for that, but
All right.
Gangelo. Okay. Basically, not a lot of people have them. So when you have to replace them and you're doing a poison comp, then you just add in another poisoner. Instead of doing 50% more damage, you're kind of doing 50% more damage because you just added in another poisoner. So you just throw this guy in there, and then
Yeah, hell yeah.
he works good with cursed and basically anything you would build the same gear for anyway when you do poem.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think you saw it, and then being able to apply potentially multiple poisons on the same turn is pretty sweet because you 70% chance here, then plus a the 35% or 50% when you have them booked on their turn. So it's he actually can stack up pretty quick. You mean obviously not as consistent as some of the better poisoners, but for an elite hero, that's great.
He got an indirect buff as well because they nerfed poisons, but it also buffed him because since it happens when your allies get hit, it means it triggers the poison damage at the end of their turn. So they hit you, they get poison, and their turn ends, and
Oh,
they take damage.
yeah, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's big brain right there. Because the damage calculation happens at the end of the opponent's turn. Now, they were, they didn't think of Alec, but like for most poisoners, that's a nerf because then it's one more turn you got to survive. But with him, you mean he's trying to do that anyway. Let's look at his base stats. In B tier health and defense, I think that's pretty solid. Like that's the big pitfall on a lot of these elites, pretty much all of them, is that the base stats really let you down. You really got to max them to like get the same level of survivability like a level 50 William, for example, would have. It really starts to add up there because that leads me to my hero. There's a couple heroes I want to talk about. Like I want to first talk about one that I think is very popular that I was not a fan of, which was Joseph here, because he has very low survivability for Ash. It's like you really need to max this guy if you're going to take advantage of him. He's obviously a good character, but I just want to have people keep that in mind that to really take advantage of the attack up and defensive of what he brings to the table. You got to have him like level 60, good gear to get that same level of survivability as other like epics and legendary heroes of his similar role. But the one I wanted to bring up was I feel like Mary, that's like way too easy of a thing to say. Everyone knows just how good Mary is. And
Agreed.
I think that the big one, I was going to go Charles. I think this guy's sweet. And I don't know how much he's caught on. I think he's getting pretty popular now. But the reason why I like him is he's one of the few characters that scales off defense. And that's from Raid Shadow Legends, that's such a big effect. Whereas in this game, not necessarily the case. If you're a tank, you're mainly a tank. You don't do that much damage. Whereas this guy, he damage dealt by this character deals bonus true damage equal to 30% of his defense. And if you ascend him, which is relatively easy because he's an elite hero, it's 50% of his defense, which is pretty nuts. And for an elite character, he actually has pretty good base stats with A tier health and B tier defense. And then he has, since all of his moves are going to be doing true damage based on his defense, the rest of his kit is just good utility. Like, for example, he has Taunt on his A1, which is fantastic. Can lock someone out. He gains stacking bonus defense off his passive here. And then lastly, he gives himself a shield. So he's actually pretty sustainable too, really because good. Yeah. So
and the good thing about him too is there's other heroes that share their defense. And so since he scales off defense, when they're natively sharing their defense, like Hakrim, right?
Yeah.
It's passively increasing his damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's passively getting the passive increase because of Hakrin giving him, and this guy is a fusible character, so I think he's a good character to recommend for a lot of people. And plus, he's just really good. Yeah,
so they work at the same type of stuff together. I mean, you know, I've seen Charos get some love. I think people use him in Clan Boss too, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think Clan Boss, Void Tower, he's pretty versatile. And I feel like it's easier to gear these kind of defensive characters than it is. I feel like these offensive characters in this game, you really got to have like good gear and a character with good base stats to ever even hope to do enough damage to be comparable. So pretty cool that they are giving such a powerful kit to another lead hero like this. So, and then synergizes well with other free-to-play friendly epics and other heroes too, and works out in a lot of game modes. So now I think we covered the elites. Do you have anything else you want to say? Okay.
Yeah, so that's in the interest of not making the video 3 hours long.
Right. Yeah, I think the audience will appreciate that. So, what is your favorite epic?
Ooh, favorite epic.
See, this is where it gets interesting because I think the epics in this game are fantastic, and they're all unique and interesting.
Yeah, no, that's when it starts to get kind of hard. I'm actually going to throw this one out there, and it's a little bit different than I thought. I was going to say, but I actually want to give some love to Celestria Kane because I've been using them on the free to play. And no, I'm not going to say like Celestria Kane is, God's gift to the epics or anything. Okay. I mean, I'll get that out for sure. But what I will say is a 2-turn unkillable, essentially invincibility for your whole team he's the only one that's basically got that. Or I should say 1 turn. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, just want to make sure on the same page because they did nerf it. You were correct. It used to be 2 turns and then they turned it down.
That's what I was wondering. That threw me off a little bit there to see that when you pulled that up. I thought it was still 2 turns. I wasn't aware of that, but the invincibility, regardless, is pretty cool. You can actually use this to stop the cheese of a lot of the damage. Obviously, the problem is, he has to go last in order for this to work, because if he's the fastest on your team, you're kind of.
And everyone goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really work, and he actually has like decent speed. So.
Yeah, that and I do like that it's 1 turn of it versus 1 stack of it, especially in arena. It makes a big difference versus Mary's version of it. So, and it's I believe the same cooldown. Is it same cooldown or 1 turn lower? Because it's a 4 turn when fully booked versus Mary.
No, you're hitting me on the logic off the bat here. Let's see. He has other moves that are pretty good too, so it's not. He's not just a 1.
It's a 4 turn versus a 5 turn, so that's another bit. So he deserves that epic status over the elite status of a very similar role. So.
Well, he also kind of fills the role of if you look at his passive too, or his trait, I should say. I always forget about that. If you look at that, he kind of fills the role of like a war priest from Raid, where he passively removes the debuffs, but then he also heals himself. So he's quite a good affinity, like off affinity tank. So basically, what I've noticed is if I could potentially put him in Clan Boss on the free to play, and I know he's going to get punched. Like I know he's the one that's going to get punched because everyone else is like the positive affinity, and then he heals himself. So it may be a minor thing, but I've liked that. And when I'm struggling for breath basically on the free to play, and every step's hard, having a hero that can kind of temporarily help me out has been feels pretty good. And then he also pairs well with Nathalia and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah, because he's giving buffs and all that. So I think he's a good pick. He's obviously a great character. You see him a ton. He's arena defense all over there, void tower all over there, guild raid. So ton of uses. Oh, he's super useful in level 12 dungeons. I mean, he's one of the most versatile characters. So he's not only cool, but like actually really good.
Yeah, and for sure, I'll add the disclaimer. I'm not by any means saying he's the best epic or even in maybe the top 5, but I am saying I like him.
Okay, I think that's a good one. So I'm gonna go. This is not, again, not like necessarily the best, but just one of the most fun, cool heroes I think in the game is Jacob. I really like Jacob. So I think he's definitely a character that it's hard for me to. I just like him so much that I'm gonna talk about him. But he's one of those characters that needs to be 5 ascended. So it's hard for me to want to bring this up. Maybe I can talk about a different epic that as well that doesn't need this 5 ascended trait here, but he's so cool because you can also pair him with a cursed set and then his passive here. So he has multiple ways of scaling. So he has his auto attack here that's scaling where it does 80% damage to an enemy with a 100% chance to apply intrigue. So then the intrigue is a stacking minus 20% defense, 20 stacks of intrigue. Then you have his ult here where he expends all the rage that he takes because every turn he goes, he gets rage. And then he applies madness. So madness, it boosts his attack of himself. So he has multiple ways of stacking. So when he attacks, he's putting out this right here in the intrigue. And then when he ults, he goes a ton of times that also scale with cursed set. So you have 35% chances to proc like the 7 turns you get or whatever with his rage, and he just goes and goes and goes. And then that also procs with other characters that gain rage off of like other people going. Like for example, Crazerzak, which he's a legendary character you get a pull, but like there's other heroes that scale like that are not crazy rare.
Well with Imogen too, for sure.
Yeah. So and then not only that, but then he's allowing every round randomly selects one ally at the start of every round. Every time that ally uses a basic ability, this character launches a joint attack with their own basic ability. So it's like he's really good, and he's very unique. And I think that's one of the cool things. And then I haven't even mentioned the whole permanent grants invisibility, so he doesn't get targeted. So you can just make him as high as damage dealing as possible. You don't really got to worry about him too much, but that's the reason why he takes an A5. Yeah, so I think he's a fun character.
That's a great choice. Yeah, I like that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm thinking, do you want to talk about maybe throw in a third honorable mention because the A5 on this, or do you want to move to the legendaries?
Yeah, we can throw in our honorable mention for sure if you want to. I think we should just throw out, because I know there's going to be the tier list Andes. So let's just throw out William and say, there's William. I mean,
he's fantastic. Yeah, he's really good.
Hard to argue against William being, arguably one of the best heroes in the game. And people have commonly asked me, like, when I roll for the rookie summons, do I go for William or do I go for Mathasia? And to be honest, it's a hard pick.
Right? Yeah, he's just so versatile, and his auto attack is amazing. Plus, his kit just synergizes really well together. And he's low resources because he functions well at level 50, and then he boosts up everyone. A lot of people got Nathalia for free. It's easily one of the best pairings with Nathalia, if not the best pairing. So it's like, see, he's just too good to not mention as like easily one of the best epics in the entire game. So
let's move on to the legend. Let's do the
let's do it. Let's do
legendaries.
All right, let's do it.
I like. So I originally started off a little salty about this guy, and it's apparent in my videos. But as time's go on, I've grown to like him more. Hector, baby. My boy Hector.
Oh, that's the move. That's the move right there.
Dude,
Here he is.
Hector actually just completely fucking slaps. Like, I mean, he hits like a truck. And I figured out what you want to do with him when you're playing him manually. You throw the 2 axes, you do your ult, but then you basic attack once. And you get the damage up. You get the damage up 2. Then you throw 1 axe. Then your next turn you throw another axe, and then you ult. So you get the damage up to once. You can, if you delay your axe rotation once, you can do it. But there's one problem if you delay the axe rotation by 1, is that you 100% have to land you cannot get resisted. Because if you get resisted, you have just enough turns to keep it 100% up of his his second move there, the increased
Uh-huh.
damage taken on the Throne Axe. You can keep it 100% up if you delay it by 1 turn, but you cannot get resisted, or else it throws your
Mm-hmm.
DPS off entirely. And if you look at the way it takes the increased damage taken too, is what I'm talking about in particular, because you have
Yeah.
to get the second variant in order to really get the 50% damage down. And he also pairs amazingly well, and I know no one's going to have this, and people are going to hate to hear it, but he pairs amazingly well with First Dawn, like because First Dawn gives him bonus turn, so he can more or less get just 7 turns in a row. He just mobs it up like crazy. And then she does defense down 2, so you have increased damage down
Mm-hmm.
2, you have defense down 2, and then her alt makes it where Hector every other turn gets his alt. So it's just hilarious.
Well,
Like,
that's one thing I wanted to mention about Hector is that the increased damage down 2 is very rare, and I like it
yeah,
because it's defense down 2 is also rare, so Evelyn's bringing that, but defense down is kind of common. But the having the combination of the increased damage and the increased damage taken and the defense down 2, it's like it's covering a wide spread of all the good damage specific debuffs. So it's pretty cool. I like
yeah.
that. I
No,
like
I've
the pick.
I've actually really grown to appreciate him, to be honest. Like more and more. I don't
Hmm.
have him ascended, so like I have lame version of him or whatever. But he has been the reason I've hit the hardest on my guild boss runs. He was in my
Hmm.
best run ever, and he actually slaps. I don't know. I just think like even though he feels bad to pick like as a starter, I don't
Yeah.
regret picking him as a starter, even though I did pick
Uh-huh.
him as my Charizard.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that he came around. He was, it, scaled late. You were going for late with
And
him. So,
thematically, I mean, just to throw, like, I normally talk about art a lot in these games too. And thematically, the way his kit works fits with him.
uh-huh.
So I also just happen to like that too. He
Do
makes
you
sense
want
as a
a
hero.
PSA on, does the text still not explain it correctly?
The text still
Um,
does not explain the way it
oh,
works,
no.
correct?
Yeah.
Because if you look at his basic ability,
Mm-hmm.
they do not show. He has 3 basics. He has damage up 2 when you have 2 axes, damage up 1 when you have 1 axe, and no damage up when you are punching. And they don't explain that literally anywhere. You have to
Yeah.
figure that out for yourself.
That's such a big mechanic to just not explain.
It's enormous because it changes
Yeah.
entirely your rotation of gameplay.
Right. That's wild. So,
It's actually stupid. But
mhm.
don't ruin my hype for this hero, because this
Oh,
hero
no, yeah.
he's actually pretty exciting. Like
And
I don't
well,
want people to
question:
sleep on him.
Does he does he apply the damage up too when you if you called him into assist? Like, let's say William,
If
out of
he has his
turn,
axes.
if he has his axes. Okay. So you got to get super lucky. So you got to have William go first, calls his axes, boom, then you get it, then you can throw the axes. Yeah,
And he
that'd
works
be.
well with counterattack too for that reasoning. But as
Oh
you
yeah,
know, the counterattacks are all like blue affinity basically. It's just kind of
yeah,
hard to
yeah,
make it work.
especially when guild boss like that, when he's just like this
Yeah,
big like single target, nuker, yeah, with a little
it's
setup.
hard. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
So what's yours? Are you gonna go hippie and
my
pick Desmond, or what?
no,
What are you
no,
doing
I'm
here?
gonna just be like I'm gonna not pick him because if I got more time to play with him, like he's growing on me. If you mean, but the things that he does well, it's like you have to wait. I don't know 20 turns for the match to actually end with him because he just slowly whittles them down. But he's not a meme anymore like what he used to be.
Look at
But
those stats, though. I mean, he's got A tier, A
yeah,
tier, S tier.
yeah, he's like one of the few tanky damage dealers in the game. So he's like, but he has potential, but like also it's a big pain to get the ability mats for these green heroes, and then I wanted to get
God,
this other hero.
you're entirely correct on that. It's
Yeah,
highly
so
annoying.
he's on the back burner, but I do want to max him, and I am gonna try him out. I'll do a guide
Your
on him and stuff
account's
like that.
disgusting, by the way, just for the
Um,
viewers.
yeah,
You have
no,
an absolutely disgusting.
no. I'm sitting here. I'm like, should I just use the index so I don't get? I'm gonna get like whale memes, just the whole.
Dude,
I
the
mean,
index is the same thing
yeah.
as
Oh,
your
yeah, it's gonna
account.
show.
Like, why
Yeah,
even bother with an index?
yeah. All
Because
right.
you have all the heroes anyway.
Yeah. So this is my pick. Crazerzak. He just got buffed. He was a meme. Now he's actually dope. He's so cool. I force him into every
I
team.
like this.
He's such a cool character for so many reasons. He's just so much fun to play. And just to kind of explain how he works, he's like Sierra in the sense that he is a single target damage dealer. He does crazy big bursts. I think probably the biggest single nuke in the game without crazy setup, because it deals 250% damage to one enemy. That alone is some of the highest modifiers in the game. But then if the target has less than
that's crazy.
50% life, yeah, like so he doesn't really, unless there's not that many dark characters that he's going to get the affinity bonus against. But when they have less than 50%, then he does 50% more damage. So that right there is one of the hardest hitting moves. Then if he kills someone, he does a special ability immediately. And then his special ability is him kind of whirlwinding and doing an AoE damage move. They don't say the percentage of damage that it does, but it feels like it hits decently hard. Then he gains rage. His passive is actually now moved. He has this weird passive here where it just grants 1 stack of block up to 3 stacks when casting an ability. That's his actual passive now, but the old passive that he had where he would gain rage is moved to his A2. So he
I feel
can,
like the block doesn't make any sense with the rest of his kit.
yes, it kind of comes up like it's come up clutch here and there, but this is the weirdest part of his kit. If they change this to something that made sense with his kit, he would be like easily one of the best characters in the game. He's already like there, but
Give him Hector's passive, and then he's
oh
hilarious.
yeah, it's a wrap. He's so good. And so then this right here, he can strike up to 4 times and then remove positive effects, 30% chance to remove 1 positive effect. That's cool. But the rage thing is what's really cool about him, because once all of your team has cast their abilities, you gain 1 rage. After accumulating 5 rage, you immediately cast this ability's bonus attack. This can be used twice per round maximum. So you, like I was talking about Jacob earlier, I could have Jacob go, he goes 1,000,000 times, then he's going to be able to proc this twice within that round of him AoEing just for free. Or you don't have to build your team around it. Just as people start to go, he's going to build rage and AoE off of that. Then you could also, with his ult, one-shot someone because it does 1,000,000,000 damage. It has the bonus ability that AoEs because it procs off of killing someone. Then you might, based on your lineup, get the passive to proc. So then the passive actually goes. So you can have like one-shot, AoE, then someone goes.
Oh, baby. And then you just happen to have Imogen in your team too. So then she follows up also. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If only I could pull this hero, man.
Right? No, it went from like, because he was my first like light legend, I think like my second legendary ever, and I couldn't make him work, but then this buff actually made a big difference. And then lastly, this is really clutch here. Yeah, 100% damage, which is great, but applies unhealable. I really like unhealable in a lot of content. It's so good.
It's actually pretty good.
So having it on his auto, which is absolutely like I use this a ton, especially facing tanky teams.
So also this arena, like the arena change is going to make him so much better too when you think about it. Because now the arena change is you get bonus attack percentage every round, right? Like you get more and more attacks ramping, okay? He has S tier attack. So think about that. And then on top of it, like he's an execution based person. So every round you could save it a little. You can save your, and the second that you hit it when you have like your bonus, you can just one shot the team. You know what I mean?
So and then I really like you brought that up, because what I've been noticing here, I think this is a really good resource, is if you see the top people in Void Tower. So what I'm noticing is what people are doing is they're prioritizing attack over like crit damage. And so like this guy, he has a Crazerzak, and look at how much attack he has. So he has 4,800, but like very low crit damage. So when you think about it, it makes more sense to prioritize the attack, because that's the thing that you can boost. You can't get a crit damage boost, but you can get a 50% attack up. So if you prioritize the attack percentage, then you're boosting that. Plus in arena, you're getting 15% attack. So the attack stat shouldn't be slept on. Like in raid, the attack stat's like
how it calculates though. Isn't
I don't know.
The percentage they give you off based upon the base? So it's like he has 12.
If it's based on percent, I don't know. I maybe because we have the rage buff, we have the arena ones. If someone can just prove that wrong, then sure.
I would
if that's
like
how it
to
actually,
know that too, to be honest, because I don't know that either. And now I'm sitting here thinking about, I was assuming it was percentage based upon base stats, and it doesn't snowball like that. But it would be interesting to know for a fact. I wonder if anyone can leave that in the comment that somehow.
Because I was going to test it.
Tested it.
But I got excited and I want to talk about it, because I was looking at that and I was like, is he doing that on purpose, or did he just farm a whole bunch of queen and has a whole bunch of attack percentage gear and just has a ton of attack?
He just got unlucky with the crit damage.
Yeah. So I don't know, but if it scales like that, that would be absolutely absurd, especially with the new arena changes, and it actually make these attack based characters like really start to turn the tables here and make arena offense a little easier.
I
So
like the
that's my
changes
pick.
to Arena because of that. I love this list. I think there's a lot of range and accessibility. So we have people like
Mm-hmm.
Crazerzak, which are hilarious, but we also have Hector, which is pickable. We got like
Yep.
Valak the Elite, which is like, dude, if you can't get your hands on
Yeah.
that, then
Yeah.
you're just
Right. Yeah.
complaining. And honestly, yeah, I think it's a decent list for fun. I mean, don't take this as God's gift for a tier list, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it is. These are all heroes we enjoy, and I actually like this list. Man, this was a really fun list. Like I said, I like these champions. I like this list. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I like these conversations too, and I'd be curious to know in the comments. Like, does anyone else actually like these type of videos where we just kind of sit and talk about things that we enjoy more, have fun more about? Because that's feedback that would be good for me to know too. Because as you know, I
Mm-hmm.
cover Awaken Chaos as well, and it'd be nice to know just for that information. So I appreciate you taking the time to have me on today, Kyra.
Yeah, thanks for joining as always. And yeah, definitely let us know in the comments below what you guys think about these style of videos. If you guys want more of these, or if you want more traditional guides. And with that, guys, we are out. Peace.